Welcome back to BoreDraw, and today we are continuing our Premier League 23-24 season previews. And today we'll talk about none other than the mighty Hammers, the bloody Irons, West Ham, off the back of a European competition winning season.
You could argue they had the second best season out of any English club.
You could argue that.
Yeah. Could you not?
You could also argue the earth is flat.
You could.
But you don't.
Because you're not an absolute trollop.
Because who cares about the second best season?
Yeah, that's
true. Let's get right into this, and we'll talk about how they actually got on last season. So, in what Roz is calling the second best season in English football history.
Nah, what are you on about? So, obviously, Man City winning the treble is the best season.
Nah,
and then it's
I know
Arsenal versus West Ham.
I do agree, especially for the calibre of the club. It's massive.
Yeah, it's Arsenal versus West Ham for second best season.
West Ham done so well the season prior to get to, what was it, the semi-final?
Yeah, of the Europa, yeah.
Yeah, of the Europa League. And then, to go on and win... What was it? The Conference League.
Europa
Conference. Yeah, it's too many European competitions now.
There is.
But yeah, Europa Conference League. No matter what you say about it being a Mickey Mouse competition, being the lesser of the three European competitions, it's still a massive trophy. You still got to beat some of the best teams in Europe.
It's for clubs like West Ham.
100%. You got on a European
not
journey.
A belittling way. If a club like Man City or Chelsea or Arsenal won it, you'd be like, yeah, you probably should be on bigger things.
No, you still be gassed.
Yeah, you'd be gassed. But
it's a European trophy.
Yeah, but you've got to be on bigger things for clubs that are spending as much as they are, doing as much as they are. But West Ham, playing around with middle of the table, I know they were battling relegation zone, which we'll talk about, but like for them to have the relegation battle and also a European journey at the same time, mate, that's class.
Yeah, it was massive, and obviously they lost their star man, their golden boy at the end of that, but at least he went off having delivered some sort of silverware to the club, which is nice.
Indeed.
Let's talk about sort of how they got in the Premier League last season. It was a rough season for David Moyes. They invested fairly heavily in the previous summer, bringing in like Lucas Paquetá. They bring in again. Was that in the summer or January?
No. Yeah.
Tilo Kehrer.
Yeah.
They brought in Scamacca as well. Flynn Downs.
They brought in. This might have been January as well, but who's that geezer from Burnley that played left wing or right wing? Oh, Maxwell Cornet.
Oh yeah, Cornet. Yeah, I like Cornet actually. But yeah, and so I think they got Ariel on a free, on a perm. Sorry. So yeah, it was somewhat fairly heavy investment, and I think they wanted to improve on sort of their European journey, and continue sort of pushing on and see where you can go with it, and it just didn't really gel. I mean, the season prior where they had so much success, they had Antonio firing for like a large part of the season. Jared Bowen had his best season ever in his footballing career. Declan Rice was on crud. I think even bloody Dawson at the back was like an absolute rock-solid defender.
Yeah.
Fabianski was great. Last season, you started to see a little bit of wear and tear. I think the ferocity and the nature of the sort of endurant nature of the previous season had taken its toll. And players were just looking leggy. They came back in the first game week of the Premier League. They looked leggy.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of when David Moyes first came in, it was just a task of kind of settling the shit.
You talking about his first stint or his second stint?
His second.
When he first came into the second stint. Yeah.
When he first came into his second stint, it was about settling the shit. There was a good like core of a squad there, but they just weren't gelling, weren't playing well. So he steadied that ship, got them playing quite well, and it looked like he'd worked wonders. When actually all he really did was steady the ship and play Antonio in his right position, play Bowen in his right position, play Declan Rice how he should be played. So it looked like he worked a miracle, but it was actually pretty basic stuff. And I think into the second season, and what we noticed in the Prem is I think a lot of teams have kind of figured out what West Ham were. I don't think there's crazy tactics. I don't think David Moyes has ever had crazy tactics.
He's more man management.
I think he's quite easy tactically to outdo on the football pitch.
Agreed.
I think that's what came to fruition in this season just gone by.
But I think is to say that's though to do him a disservice because he's done well at Everton with a fairly unique tactical system, but he had unique players of the likes of Marouane Fellaini.
I think at that point though, like I don't want to like belittle the previous era, but I think tactically football wasn't as complex as it is now.
you look at who. I mean, Brighton have got De Zerbi, who's like looking to be one of the best tactical managers.
Exactly that. I feel
of
like
this generation.
back then it was pretty simple football until the likes of Arsene Wenger arrived, and then the likes of, I don't know, Jose arrived, and then the likes of Pep arrived. But back when David Moyes was doing wonders at Everton, it was
like
Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger, and then the rest were playing pretty basic, standard, like hoofball, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah,
Sorry, David.
I think he's definitely got something about him though, because he's done. You don't get to like European final, European semi-final.
Like I think he's a good man manager.
He got like a 7th place finish with West Ham or something like that.
I think he's a good man manager.
I think he's definitely got some sort of tactical news. I don't know. He's definitely not on the same level as like a top. Maybe he's not like a Unai Emery. He's not like a De Zerbi. He's not even probably like a Graham Potter level.
Don't think he's a Thomas Frank. Now I think that's why in the Prem he's getting found out, because the standard of manager in the Prem now
is so high.
Is elite. Even like the lower half clubs, who we'll talk about Wolves next episode, who are in like a similar position to West Ham, battling relegation, floating around the bottom half. They've got a tactical, quite astute manager in Lopetegui. So when the teams around you have got really astute managers, it's long.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we've seen managers like Eddie Howe, who's not he's not really known for his tactical genius. Like he clearly has a fantastic footballing brain, but it's all about how he manages the club, how he manages the dressing room, how he manages his players, and gets them to play for each other and for him. That sort of success. So maybe that's the sort of similar-esque David Moyes, Eddie Howe, David Moyes regen.
Maybe.
But yeah, for me, this season was a real struggle. They brought in Lucas Paquetá, and I really like Lucas Paquetá. I thought he's a really talented player. Roz had him in stink in the floppies.
I did him a little bit dirty.
And then he instantly went on.
Mate, the moment I called him out, he turned it on.
I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah, I think he is going to have to, and we'll talk about their transfer window, but he is going to have to take a lot of weight on his shoulder this coming season. Yeah,
I agree. And so for me, the transition from sort of what they had into this new era hasn't really worked so well. They brought in the likes of Gianluca Scamacca, who had a horrid season with injuries, and I think he's already looking to leave the club.
Yeah, I think in Milan.
So, and I liked the look of him. I thought he was going to be like quite a dangerous player in the Premier League, but it never really worked out. They're relying a lot on Antonio, he's so hit and miss, but
yeah, he's past it. I think
he's more focused on his podcasting now, which is good for him. If you want to come on, 100%. Should we
talk about the window?
Let's talk about sort of the transfer window. There's not much to talk about when we're talking about something. So yeah, West Ham have had a pretty horrid season with a great ending.
And then
the transfer window so far, abysmal. Mate. Maybe with a great ending. It's actually been like probably one of the worst transfers.
A little happy ending.
I don't know. Can you be happy when?
That's what. Who's is it? David Gould? Is that their owner? Or David Sullivan? David something. He's gone off to Thailand for a happy ending with that 100 million Declan Rice money. So they sold, and everybody knew it was coming. Declan Rice kind of made it very clear that he wasn't signing a new contract. He was going to do this last season at West Ham, try and bring in some silverware, which he did, and then he was going to move. And I've seen a lot of West Ham fans fuming at him. Fuck knows why. He's brought you silverware and £100 million. Can he do any more? And but it is what it is. He's moved to the biggest club in the world, so fair play to the boy. But with that £100 million comes a whole heap of burdens.
So I want to liken it to the Jack Grealish saga when he left Villa for 100 million. At that point, the point when he left, I think Villa had already bought in like Danny Ings. They bought in like Buendia. They bought in who's the winger?
Bailey, but I don't know if they had.
Was that after?
Yeah, I think this.
But they bought in basically like a bunch of players.
I think this is more like Ollie Watkins.
Maybe they bought in Martinez at that point.
Martinez, Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, so they basically spent the money before it had even come.
Yeah.
And so teams didn't have the right to sort of rip them off, and they could drive. But West Ham have done themselves. They shot themselves in the foot here. They should have agreed to let him go, but they needed to be more proactive in searching. I think they've just gone to Fulham and asked for Paulinho, and they said 70 million. 70 million. Mental.
And
That's
then
ridiculous.
they went to their second kind of positional option, went for James Ward-Prowse. Southampton want 40 million. They offered 30, take it or leave it. Southampton, all right, fuck off.
He's also not a midfielder in what they need.
No, he's not going to do Declan Rice work. And so that's a problem. So I totally agree. They should have been more proactive before the Declan Rice deal was done. Also, they dragged out the Declan Rice deal for so long that they haven't left themselves much of the transfer window or like before the season starts.
So the player, if they bring someone in before the start of the season, which is very unlikely, they're going to have no. They won't have any time to integrate with the team.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're going to miss the first game week or get 2 game weeks of the Premier League anyway. Might get an appearance off the bench if they've had a pre-season with their current club. But like, who do you go for? Who like at this point it makes no sense. So they've looked at Moyes from Man City. I know he's not a DM, but in terms of players they've actually looked at, he's been snapped up by Ajax now.
So funny, man.
That was like almost across the line. Ajax come in the last minute and they've snapped him up.
Yep.
West Ham's lack of proactivity, sort of doing it in the foot again.
Couple of Man United people they looked at. They looked at Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire.
Yeah,
I don't hate either of them as a shout,
but
but the money that Man United are asking for those two donuts is crazy.
I actually don't mind Scott McTominay. I think he's really good for Scotland.
Yeah, no, I'm being funny, but
yeah, Harry Maguire is that's a gamble. But if you get Harry Maguire for like 10 million, I think that's
I think
bad.
either of them for like 25 mil max, I'd be happy. But I think Man United want 40 mil for each of them.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't it? That's mental.
And that's the Declan Rice money. It's like people know that West Ham are flash, mate.
What they should have done is bargain really hard with City and try to get Calvin Phillips.
Yeah,
that's what I would have looked to do. But we're seeing like a shortage of DMs in the Premier League now. Like you've got Rodri and Phillips and like the Stones maneuver that happens at Man City. You've got Partey and Rice at Arsenal. You've got at Liverpool no one
apart from maybe Lavia imminently.
Maybe Lavia if that happens. Man United, you've got Casemiro.
About it. I wouldn't even call Fred or McTominay.
Like Eriksen's played like a sitting like deep midfielder, but he's not.
Caicedo.
Yeah, you got Caicedo at Brighton at the minute. Enzo at Chelsea maybe, but not really. Yeah, there's a strange.
But yeah, West Ham, what's going on? You've got to make some moves in the market because you've lost your best player. You've got 100 mil for him, and you want to progress because teams around you are progressing.
Look at the standard of the teams like even coming up. Like Luton are proactively improving their team. They've obviously got a way to go to catch up to the level of West Ham.
Teams like Bournemouth that everybody completely writ off last season. New owners, we think probably have one of the best transfer markets, transfer windows of all the Premier League teams. So when teams around you are making moves, making money moves.
Yeah, they need to be far more proactive. I like their goalkeeper situation is all right. They've got Fabianski, they've got Areola on the bench. I think Areola's going to start playing more of a front man role this season, which could be interesting to see because he was very highly rated as a youngster, and we've seen glimpses of him, but not really a long stretch in the first team. I don't mind their defensive situation too much.
No, they've got a decent amount of centre backs. Aged, Carrere. Who else they got? They've got more than that. Fucking who knows?
For me, the main issue is
that midfield
and the striking situation. Like, you can't rely on Jared Bowen every season to drop you 15, 20 goals. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Exactly, yeah. And same with Antonio. With
Benrahma. I think you need to... He should have been written off last season.
Yeah.
You know, they should have moved on to get in... they need to... Basically, they've tried to improve with Skamaka. It's not worked out. They've taken a risk there. They need to get
Danny Ings firing. He's an asset.
Yeah, but is he going to stay injury-free? Is he going to start firing for him? I don't know. I'm not worried for West Ham. I think they've got enough quality to stay up and beat the drop.
Yeah.
But they've got European football.
I am worried for West Ham. We'll do our Premier League predictions before the start of the season. But, spoiler, I think West Ham are going to be flirting with relegation.
Yeah, but I think they're they've got enough. They've got enough. But it'll be interesting to see sort of how they go about the rest of the window because they haven't got long left. And teams know what they're about. Yeah, it could be a sticky one for them. Sticky one still.
It could be.
Should we take a look at how they're going to line up in the first game of next season?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about how they're going to line up in their first game of the season against a team who's having the complete opposite window in Bournemouth. So we're likely thinking they're going to start with Fabianski between the sticks. We spoke about this already. Maybe Areola starting to work his way into that number one position. But yeah, back line similar to how they finished last season with Kufau, Kurt Zuma, who we forgot to mention is one of their centre backs.
Don't rate him, he kicks cats.
Kicks cats, yeah.
Push up.
Again, and in Emerson, the first place to win the Champions League, Europa League, and Europa Conference League.
Yeah,
mental, isn't it?
He's trophied up.
Yeah, man, he's got. That's not a little. It's not a bad little
CV,
collection to have. Yeah, 100%. Souček, who I think had a stink of last season.
Yeah, he's gone off the boil majorly. I've seen a lot of West Ham fans kind of turn on him, thinking he's not doing enough. Like, he does get a lot of goals because he's got a massive head, but beyond that, he doesn't do enough around the pitch in terms of linking up the defence and the forwards. A lot of that was Declan Rice kind of picking the ball up deep and progressing. Like we see, Declan Rice had like the most progressive carries in the league. So Declan Rice is doing like two man's work.
We're going to be looking for Souček to sort of pick up that role in this team.
Honestly, fuck knows. I don't think he's got it in him, and I don't think Flynn Down does either.
Flynn Downs is more of a tempo man.
Yeah, so I think
little tippy tappy.
I think they need to get someone in to play that deeper role because Souček is more of a box to box. Flynn Downs, like you said, is kind of a slower playmaker, and so is Paquetá's kind of like more of a progressive 8. They've got no one that's going to help the defensive line and carry the ball up, link the defensive line with the forward line. They need someone.
A lot of West Ham's play came through the middle last year, and they would look to play, once they got to about the halfway line, they would look for Bowen or Ben Rama to break the line, or even Antonio at points. And they look for that sort of like that through ball, the over the top. I think this season we could see Kufau and whoever they have playing left back, maybe probably Emerson, have more of a role, and maybe they look to bring like in a taller striker.
Yeah,
and
maybe
play a bit more sort of route one, and I don't know. But yeah, and then up front we're looking at obviously Jared Bowen be starting, and probably Antonio and Ben Rama. Ben Rama I don't mind. I think he's all right, but he doesn't do enough for me.
Are both all right. They just don't do enough. But like on their day, that is like a nightmare for defenders.
I think Bowen, if he finds form at the beginning of the season, he can keep it consistent. Fantastic, like maybe top 5 right wing in the league level. Like he's unplayable at times. Ben Rama for me he lacks consistency. He goes on little hot streaks. He might go 2 games in a row and he'll score or get an assist or something, and then he goes off the boil for like 5 game weeks. You don't see him, and he ghosts in games.
Yeah, definitely.
And Antonio is pretty much the same, and you can't afford to have that if you want to stay clear of a relegation battle and also compete in a European competition. So yeah, it's going to be a sticky one for me. I don't know if David Moyes will see out the season.
Yeah, neither do I. I think he and West Ham could be in trouble unless they move a bit more astutely in the market and set up a bit differently. I don't know if it's time to phase out.
His time was
Antonio.
like, if they didn't win that Conference League last season,
mate.
he would have been gone.
It through the summer,
He would have been gone, 100%. But yeah, let us know down below, West Ham fans. Are you as nervous as us for your upcoming Premier League season? What the fuck's gone on your transfer window? Because not a lot is what we're thinking. But yeah, let us know down below, who would you want to get in to sort of fill the boots of one Declan Rice? And yeah, do you think David Moyes will see out the season? I don't know. If you guys did enjoy this video of us basically slating West Ham's transfer window, make sure to subscribe.
It is what it is.
We have uploaded a season preview for pretty much every Premier League team. We've got Wolves coming out tomorrow. And go back through, check it all out. It's all still relevant. It's all good stuff. And yeah, next week we'll be hitting you up with our Premier League predictions. So stick around for that. So make sure you are subscribed. Remember to like the video, drop a comment down below. And yeah, it's been BoreDraw, and it's live.
Irons.